Okay, so as promised, today we are doing the non-monic trinomials. So if we have a quadratic that looks like this, ax squared plus bx plus c, where the a is not equal to 1. If it was equal to 1, then it would be a monic, which is what we've been doing. But we're looking at the case when there is some number other than 1 in front of our x squared. And there are a number of different processes that you could use to factorize this. I know of at least 3 different ways to do it. And there's a few of them that are listed there. It says one method involves grouping in pairs, another is the cross method, and the third method is called the berry method. I'm only going to show you one method, which is probably, I think it's the one that you're probably already familiar with, and I think it is the easiest one. It is the grouping in pairs, because we're already familiar with that anyway. It's just a little extra step that we have to do before we get started with it. So let's go straight into the questions. Question number 1A. It says in brackets, this is a trick one. Take out a common factor first. We don't actually need to do a new method with this. We've already looked at these ones. All we have to do is take out a common factor before we factorize. We don't ever like to have a negative in front of our x squared either, so bring that out as a factor as well. So negative 2, bracket, that would leave x squared. Bringing the minus out will change that to a plus 5x, and bringing the minus out of the 12 would be negative 6. Okay, so that then makes the bracket a monic trinomial, and we can factorize that with the same methods we've been using. So we're looking for 2 numbers that times to give the 1 on the end, the minus 6. Because that is negative, it tells you that one of the numbers will be negative. Okay? They times to give negative 6, and they're going to add to give a 5. That being positive tells you that the bigger number is positive. All right, what do you think? What are the 2 numbers?
1 and 6.
1 and 6, yes, but we need the minus sign in the right place. Positive. So we need a positive 6 and a negative 1. Okay, you check them. If I have a 6 and a negative 1, you times them together, you get a negative 6, so that works. And you add them together and you get a positive 5. Okay? All right, so it's factorized. That's done. Let's get on to the slightly harder ones. Part B. This one here, we have a 3 in front of our a squared. Okay, and I can't factorize it out without going to some nasty fractions. If I really wanted to try that, don't do that. So we're going to use our new method. We're going to split that into 4 terms so that we can factorize it in pairs. The first thing you need to do is to multiply the 3 out the front with the 2 at the end. So 3 times 2 makes 6. We're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give the 6 that I just worked out, but they're still going to add to give this number in the middle. They're going to add to give 5. Yes, Ruby? I times the number at the front, the 3 times the number on the end. 3 times 2 makes 6. Okay, so the 2 numbers, they're all positive signs, so they're going to be positive. So 2 and 3, 2 times 3 makes 6, and 2 plus 3 makes 5. So instead of putting it into brackets though, what you do is you split your middle term into those numbers. So you leave the 3a squared. The 2 numbers we worked out was a 2a and a 3a. So it was 2 and 3, so I've split the 5. The only thing that's changed is that 5a. I've split it into the 2 numbers that I worked out, that times to give 6 and add to give 5. Okay? All right, now that I have 4 terms, I factorize in pairs. Normally I do the first and the second. What do you think? Should I do the first and the second?
First and the third.
Actually, it doesn't matter. I can still do first and second. You could do first and third. You'll get the same answer. Let's do first and second. I can factorize out of that just an a, which would give me 3a plus 2. The third and the fourth term There is no common factor, but fortunately for me, it is a 3a plus 2. So I'm just going to go plus 3a plus 2, and I'm going to put it in brackets so that I can see that the 3a plus 2 is going to be a common factor. I'm going to bring it out the front, 3a plus 2, and then put what is out the front of each one of those brackets goes into this second bracket. So the a from here will be in there. So we'll put a plus, if there's no number here, it is a 1, correct. And that's it. Don't be concerned if your brackets are in a different order to the answer, okay? 3a plus 2 and then times by a plus 1 is the same as if you switch the brackets around the other way. All right. Well, is this the same method that you used last year? Just wanted to double check. Yes, it is. Good. Okay, part C, let's do it again. 2x squared minus 11x minus 6. So the first thing that you do is you multiply the 2 with the minus 6. 2 times minus 6 makes minus 12. The number in the middle, the negative 11, the numbers have to add to give a negative 11. Okay, so this is what I'm working with over here. The two numbers multiply to give negative 12 and they add to give a negative 11. So have a think about it. 12, start with the 12. The things that times to give 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. They are my possibilities. I also know because this number is negative, what does that tell me? How many of these need to be negative? Just one of them. And because the 11 is negative, it means which one is the one that's negative? The big one or the small one? The big one needs to be negative. So let's put minus signs on all the biggest numbers in those pairs. Which one, we know they're going to times to give negative 12, all three of those options times to give negative 12, but which one of them adds to give a negative 11? The first one. The very first one, correct. So they are the numbers that I want to use. But we don't put it into brackets. We use those numbers to split the middle term. So the 2x squared is the first term. It stays the same. The minus 11x, I'm going to split it to be a plus 1x, or just plus x, and a minus 12x. You see how together they do make the negative 11. I'm just splitting it into two different numbers. And I have the minus 6 still sitting on the end. Now I factorise in pairs. So let's do the first two terms together. I can bring out an x, which gives 2x plus 1. The third and the fourth term, I can bring out a negative 6. Bringing the negative will make both of those terms positive. So 12 divided by 6 is 2x, and 6 divided by 6 makes a positive 1. The brackets here will always need to be the same. If they are not the same, you have probably made an error in the numbers that you have chosen or in your factorising somewhere. Okay, these have to be the same. So 2x plus 1 is now a common factor. It will come out the front. And the x take away 6. So the x from the front here and the minus 6, they come together into the second bracket. Yeah, we're going okay? Yes, lovely. And D, let's do it one more time. First of all, let's times the 4 with the 12, which is 4 times 12 is 48. It's positive, so the two numbers have to times to give a positive 48. And the number in the middle, that negative 19, my two numbers have to add to give that. Thinking caps, there's quite a few factors of 48. You want to have a try? What do you think? Can you think of them? First of all, okay, have it before we get into it. Because this number is positive, but this number is negative, what does that mean about the minus signs of the numbers that I'm looking for?
Two negatives.
Both of them have to be negative. It is the only way for two minuses to times to give a positive here, but still have negative numbers in there. Okay, so both the numbers need to be negative. I need two negative numbers that times to give 48. Get your calculators out. This is the kind of thing you do. Oh, what is it?
16 and 3.
Very good. So the numbers are going to be a positive 16 and 3. Oh, sorry, not positive, negative. We want negative numbers. Negative 16 and negative 3. It's frozen. There they are. A bit of a delay. Two negative numbers will times together to give the positive 48. But when you add them together, or you're actually subtracting because they're minus signs, minus 16 minus 3 does make negative 19. Okay, so we've got our two numbers. Use that to split the middle term, the minus 19. We keep the 4x squared. It doesn't matter which number you put first. I'm going to put minus 16x first, and then minus 3x, and then we still have our plus 12 sitting on the end. Is everyone getting the hang of that splitting the middle term?
Yeah.
Good. All right, now let's factorise in pairs. The first two terms, I can bring out the 4 and the x, which will leave an x minus 4. The third and the fourth term, the minus signs are in the wrong places. So I need to factorise the minus out as well, and a 3, which will give me a positive x that I need. And bringing a negative sign out of a plus sign gives me a negative. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Be very careful with minus signs, okay? My brackets are now the same, so I bring that out as a common factor. X take away 4 comes out the front. The things that are at the front of the bracket, the 4x and the minus 3, they make a second bracket. 4x minus 3. And that's it. We're going to do lots and lots of that in HD.